Hey, welcome back to Build It with Coos. Today I'm going to do a little drywall repair. It's kind of a drywall seam where the paper cracked, and I'm going to show you guys the best way to fix it, and just all the steps and all the materials, everything that you're going to need to fix it the right way. So I'm going to show you what I'm working with today. So this is kind of like you could see that cracked right there. You can see it's like, it's a pretty bad crack. So I'm going to show you the steps how to fix this today. So the tool I like to use is a multi-tool, and I like to use like a 2.5 inch, 3 inch blade. It works the best. If you don't have this, you could just use a putty knife and just kind of scrape at it like this. But what I like to do is, if this is the crack right here, I like to clean it out about 1.5 inches on both sides. So I want to clean it out about right there, all the way down. Just take it down about maybe 1/8 of an inch at the most, so that when we embed the tape into the wall, then we can flush it out so we're not creating a big hump right here. So I'm going to show you how this works. If you have a multi-tool, this kind of blade, this is the best thing for it. So works better with a vacuum. I got a vacuum, so you're not breathing all that dust.
A few moments later.
So the materials you're going to need to do this repair that we just kind of cleaned up and opened up is, you're going to need some mesh tape. It's called fiber tape. It's an extra heavy duty tape that I've been using for years. It works really good. You're going to need a mudding tray, 6-inch knife, 12-inch knife, and a 3-inch knife, and some wood glue. And I like using the Fast Set. It's a Westpac 20-minute mud, just so it sets up faster and I don't have to wait too long. So I'm going to show you how I mix this. So I just scoop some water from here. I'm going to mix a little bit more than I would normally mix for one small patch. It's just, I have a couple patches to do that I'm going to do right away also. So about half a tray of water. Then I'm going to add some of this wood glue. Probably a good maybe 2 tablespoons should be good. This way, this wood glue helps when the paper, so the paper on the wall, you can see it's exposed and all that, it's going to just stick to it and it's not going to bubble up. It's just going to grab to it. It's really good for just to embed the tape in there. And then I kind of do, maybe start off with 3 scoops maybe of the 20-minute. Just kind of mix it in there with a 3-inch knife. Maybe one more. I think this is good consistency right here. I just mix it in. It's going to be really sticky because of that glue. but it's really good for the first just to embed the tape for the first coat. I'm gonna try to get as much of those lumps out as possible. Okay, that's pretty good consistency right there. And then if there's a little bit of chunks in there, they're all kind of work in once you get it on the wall. I know a lot of people like using a 6-inch knife to get the tape on there, but I like a 3-inch. I like to stay as narrow as possible, so I don't have so I try to go like 3 inches with the tape, and then the next one is gonna go 6 inches, and then the next coat is gonna go a little bit wider. I don't wanna go wider right away, because then you're gonna be coming out too far. Okay, I'll put the mud to the side. I'll take my mesh tape, put it right on the center of the seam where it's cracked, or the crack. Like, push it on there really good. Then I take my mud and I work it in there really good. Work it in there this way. Just make sure you get it in. All those little cracks and holes and just everywhere. You don't want to get it too wide. Try to keep it inside those lines where you cut it out. I try not to go too thick with the first coat. The next coat will fill this little gap all the way. All right, it's been 20 minutes and we're gonna check on our patch, and it looks like it's dry enough to coat. Just gonna knock it down really quick, whatever's loose, any loose mud, and then I'll show you the reason why we cut it out. You can see right there that we still have room to actually fill it in with some more mud without creating a hump. That's why we cut it out with that multi-tool. So we have that room so we don't keep stacking on top of here and creating that huge hump. So it'll be nice and flat after this coat, and then the next one will top coat over the top, and it's just gonna have a little bump. All right, so let's mix some more 20. Mix a little bit less, don't really need too much. Dump this out of the bag now. Always add water in the tray first before adding fast setting mud. It should be pretty close. And this time I'm gonna use a 6-inch knife instead of a 3-inch, because you always wanna go a little bit wider with each coat, and no glue this time. Yeah, no glue, you don't need to add any glue, you just mix it, and I mix it a little bit thicker because I really want to fill in that void so it's nice and flat after this coat. You see how nice and thick it is? I don't want it, it's just the more water you have in there, the more chance it's going to shrink, so you don't want it to shrink. So yeah, it's pretty thick, you can see right there, it just hangs on to the knife. It looks like it's pretty good. It's a pretty good mixture. All right, I'll show you how I go over this now. I always like to fill it in this way, going across the seam. So you just fill it in like that, where it looks like it's, whoops, I just flung that to the wall, clean that up. Just fill it in where that whole little area we cut out with that multi-tool needs to be completely full. Right there. It's completely full, and then I just clean up the edges so there's no excess at all. Actually, there's one little spot right here. I can't see, so I'm just gonna fill that in too. And that's it for this coat. I'm just gonna hit all the other patches that I have, and then we'll get back to the next coat in a little bit. So it looks like we got a little bit left over right here of from the second pass. So I like to have a garbage bag nearby or a garbage bucket or something. Just clean out whatever you can. Toss it. Then I have a little rag in here always. I know a lot of people like using like a brush or whatever, but seems like having a little rag, like a terry cloth, just works a lot better for me. I don't know why. I can just get into the corners and it's just really easy to get in there and kind of clean everything. So just get in there and just wipe the sides. The main thing is make sure you don't wait too long because it's gonna harden on you. Okay, so that's clean. Clean my knife. All right, so the next step that we have to do is we have to do a little skim on both sides or on the whole area where the patch is. Just a really, really tight skim with some topping compound. It's a Westpac material. I'll have the link in the description of what I used, but it's already mixed right here, so it's pretty runny. You want it super runny so that we can skim it very tight. So the reason behind skimming it right now really tight before we do our imperfect texture is we have to skim it tight so it dries, so we will not create any air bubbles. So yeah, let's get to the wall. Let's get to our patch. It's all dried up. It still looks wet, but it's hard. You can see right here. But on the bag, the way that that those compounds, the fast setting mud works is basically 20 minutes on the bag. That means 20 minutes hardening time, so you can recoat it in 20 minutes. That doesn't mean it's completely dry. As you can see right here, it still looks wet, but you can coat it in 20 minutes. Same thing with 40-minute mud. You can coat it in 40 minutes, and then there's a 90 and also a 5-minute. So that's kind of how the rule of thumb on those fast setting muds. So this is just a topping that I'm gonna skim. I'm gonna skim it very tight. Just get it on there right now, just so we don't have any air bubbles after. I'm just getting it on there with the 6-inch knife, and I'll take it off. I'm gonna go about as wide as I'm gonna do the texture patch. I'm gonna texture it about maybe a foot, just a little bit over a foot. And it's like an imperfect finish, so we're gonna need to try to match that. I'll get my 12-inch knife. Make sure when you look at the knife, make sure when you skim a wall, you see there's a little hump in it. Always have the hump basically where there's a gap in the middle right there. Not the opposite direction where it's kind of, you want it kind of going this way when you skim it, not the opposite. If you look at every 12-inch knife, it has that. So we want to skim it very tight. Just so it has like a little film on there. That's all we need, just a little film on there. So when it dries up, it has the texture coat. We'll have something to absorb to. Otherwise, there's going to be bubbles everywhere. So now we'll let this set up, and then we'll do our texture coat. So, all right, I'll do the other patches that I have over here, and then I'll come back with the next step. So, okay, now we're back to our final step. The final step is texture. We're trying to match texture on the walls. So we're going to still use this topping that we have in there. That same consistency is pretty good. And then that texture, we're trying to match this texture. It's called an imperfect. This one's kind of like a medium imperfect. So let's see how close we can get it. Okay, I'm gonna use my 12-inch knife. This the skim that we did last coat with the topping, it looks like it's dry on the perimeter right here, and then this is dry also, so that means we can finally skim it, and we shouldn't have any bubbles. So when you do a skim, a texture like this, you basically have to kind of hop the trowel. Just get a little bit of mud, and you kind of just drag it and just leave like little bumps like that in different directions. Just like this. And you don't want to go out past our last mud line. That's where we want to stop our patch. And now we just kind of just work everything towards the center, towards the outside, just kind of flatten it out a little bit at a time. Flatten it out a little bit at a time. A little bit of extra, just clean it off. I want to leave it a little bit heavier so we have something to sand down. Got a little bit of imperfection there, which kind of matches this. A little bit down here. And then if you did get over the side too far past it, you want to just clean it up like this. Make it very tight around the edges. There, imperfection, a little bit here, a little bit here. Kind of matches all of this right here. So I think that should be good. Once it dries, just have to sand down the edges, hit down some of these lines right here, and we should be good to prime. So yeah, that's how you basically do a drywall patch from start to finish. And hope this helped. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you did, like and subscribe, and see you guys on the next one.